I'm living that high life. Time to catch a flight, but you can make me go. Unlocking all the memories of my new home. Ventilated echoes playing to and fro, back and forth, yeah. Caught some kids dancing in the alleyway. Crazy how the melodies began to play, yeah. Tell me how you feel it when you hear the lyric, yeah. My heart's in Stockholm. Now I never wanna go home. I left my heart in Stockholm. Now I never wanna go home. Shopping the girl, I brought a girl on my Vespa. She said I already told ya, yeah, yeah. I never dated a black guy. I said you're brown yourself. Let me offer help. Come on inside, where everybody knows your name. Everybody knows your name. Time to catch a flight, but you can make me go. Unlocking all the memories of my new home. Ventilated echoes playing to and fro, back and forth, yeah. Caught some kids dancing in the alleyway. Crazy how the melodies began to play, yeah. Tell me how you feel it when you hear the lyric, yeah. My heart's in Stockholm. Now I never wanna go home. I left my heart in Stockholm. Now I never wanna go home. Separate again. Sunlight that always stays in and by the waterway. It's that sweet life, sweet life, sweet life. I never wanna go home, go home. I'm living in Stockholm, Stockholm. I never wanna go home, go home. Living in Stockholm, Stockholm. I never wanna go home, go home. I'm living in Stockholm, Stockholm. Yeah. Shut up, I got the bed, the body. We got girl, we got girl,
Like It or Not with Benjamin Dixon starts now.
I guess I have to do it. Good morning, good morning, good morning to everyone across the chat rooms, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and subscribe. We are DJ Les this morning. DJ Exclusive is on some beach. We'll have photos of his getaway. He's having a great time while the rest of us are here holding it down. It is Thursday, June 3rd. 2021. Thanks so much for joining us all across the different chat rooms. Hit the share, like, subscribe button, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. We appreciate all of you. Rebecca will be joining us momentarily. We have an exciting show today. We're also going to be joined by Nomiki Konst. We're going to be talking about bad faith actors, reactionary media from Fox News all the way down to social media. And we're also going to be talking about things that the independent media progressive movement needs to do to move forward. And we're also going to be joined by New York State Senator Jabari Brisport. He is pushing diligently to get a universal single payer system there in New York. And so we're going to talk to him about his efforts. Thanks again to everyone who supports this program, patreon.com/like it or not. I want to begin with bad faith actors that are in the middle of the Democratic Party and have become the biggest impediment to progress. Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin are by far the most detrimental forces in Washington, D.C. right now. And that's saying a lot when you consider we have Republicans in there like Kevin McCarthy and Marjorie Taylor Greene. While we focus on them, and rightfully so, you have to consider the impact that people like Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema have on progress in this country. We currently cannot get a voting rights bill, H.R. 1, passed through the Senate because of the intransigence of Republicans. And without the ability for us to get 10 decent Republicans like Joe Manchin thought he wanted, he thought he could find. Joe Manchin thought that he could find 10 good Republicans, and he could not find a single one. And because of that, we're not able to get progress on the January 6th commission. We're not going to be able to get the information that we need into one of the worst attacks in this country's history. We have to really understand what took place on January 6th. It's not the worst attack in terms of damage. It's not the worst attack in terms of lives. It's not the worst attack in terms of but in one specific area, it is extremely important that we focus on January 6th. And that's because it was a direct threat from white supremacy marching up the steps of the Capitol, challenging democracy itself. White supremacy challenged democracy on January 6th, and we need to get to the bottom line of it. We need to get to the bottom of it. That said, I want to move to the people who are making that impossible, the bad faith actors in the Democratic Party, Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin. Here's a clip of Kyrsten. She was yesterday, she was traveling the country, and she was at a press conference with John Cornyn, a Republican who voted to not have the January 6th commission. Let's take a look at what she had to say.
Well, as folks in Arizona know, I've long been a supporter of the filibuster because it is a tool that protects the democracy of our nation rather than allowing our country to ricochet wildly every 2 to 4 years back and forth between policies. The idea of the filibuster was created by those who came before us, the United States Senate, to create comity and to encourage senators to find bipartisanship and work together. And while there are some who don't believe that bipartisanship is possible, I think that I'm a daily example that bipartisanship is possible.
Rebecca, do you see this person? She's like, well, there are some, and she really thinks she's doing something. While there are some who thinks that bipartisanship is impossible,
I can do it. I am a firm believer that bipartisanship is what's going to save America. The filibuster was something that my ancestors created to hold back Black people, and how dare, or Black and brown people, people of color, poor people, and how dare we stop what our ancestors created. So we just have to continue in this racist, white supremacist way, and that's it. And that's what I got from that. I mean, that was 2 seconds, but all they have to do is exactly what she did, and they win. They win.
And she gets to put on this facade. She puts on this facade as though she is the reasonable one. She's like, come, let us reason together. Yeah. We have reasoned with you, Kirsten Sinema. We know exactly who and what you are. You are there to be the foil. You are there to help the Republicans hold the line against actual progress in this country. That's the only thing you're facilitating. And that's actually why she was there. She was there at a bipartisanship event, with John Cornyn as they explored the facilities there for immigration. So she was there for but when we need her to be on our side, she gives us a thumbs down, right? She gives us the little curtsy that she gave us in order to insult us for in our attempt to get $15 an hour. Here's a second clip of her. This is the second half of what she had to say yesterday.
That John and I and many other of my colleagues in both parties do on a regular basis. So to those who say we must make a choice between the filibuster and X, I say this is a false choice. The reality is that when you have a system that's not working effectively, and I would think that most would agree that the Senate's not a particularly well-oiled machine, right? The way to fix that is to change your behavior, not to eliminate the rules or change the rules, but to change your behavior. So I'm going to continue to go to work every day, aggressively seeking bipartisanship in a cheerful and happy warrior way, as I always do, and showing that when we work together, we can get things done.
A clip of her giving us the curtsy. This is what she means by happy and joyous. This is when she had the opportunity to vote for $15 an hour for workers. This is her happily doing her job. This is her saying, no, you don't get 15 an hour. You're not worth 15 an hour. This is where she was bipartisan. This is where she sided with Republicans in order to stop us from getting $15 an hour.
It was definitely bipartisan, what we saw there. Because, I mean, I know that she's trying to, make her voice with the Karen Bob and all of that stuff, but make it make sense. You're really trying to fight for something. And this is a lot of fight that she's putting in here. Like
she's right there.
She said that she was a warrior or whatever. This is not the fight that we need on this side. But these are the ones that represent things that work for them.
Right.
Everything that they do, everything that they say, if it's going to affect them in a negative way, maybe financially, whatever, or maybe ruin their relationships with the Republicans, which they're pretty much bipartisan in that sense.
Right.
And they don't care at that point. What matters is making everybody in their group feel good and not the people. The people don't matter, no matter how much America, we the people and all that, we really don't matter to these people. And
Rebecca, let me jump in there because I want them to see, like, this is who she was with yesterday, John Cornyn, right? This is who she wants to be she wants to be bipartisan, but she's the one that's going across the aisle. That's the thing I need.
Look at her face. It's like
she's not bringing John Cornyn to us. John Cornyn is bringing her to Donald Trump's side of the equation. And while he's not president anymore, we are most certainly underneath Trumpism. And John Cornyn represents that. Like, this is why we couldn't. Kirsten Sinema didn't even show up to vote on January January 6th commission.
And she's supposed to be representation of our side. This is why we say, like, it's not all, everybody ain't the same just because they represent or cover the Democratic Party or whatever. Just because I'm blue, I'm with you. It's not like that. It honestly isn't. There are people that still walk or that will adopt ways right when they get into office, take that seat. They will adopt the ways of the Republican side. They will adopt the ways of the dramatic right and because it works in their benefit. The more times they become bipartisan with them, but it's not for the benefit of the people. Nothing that she says, even though she said that she's going to be a warrior, a fighter for us.
She's a fighter.
The filibuster wins, that we need it because it's something that has been in our history and it's something that's meant to work, but not for us, not for the people.
Right.
And that's what I hear when I heard her saying, that was a lot of fight that she put in, but it was 2 seconds when she said no $15 for y'all.
Right. And and therein lies the problem, right? You said it. She absolutely is bipartisan on behalf of the Republicans. And she's always on that side of the aisle. And this is why you can't vote blue no matter who. This is why Democrats, when you tell us to just vote blue, then this is what we end up with. It's almost like anything will do. No, any old Democrat won't do anymore. We're well past that.
Yeah.
We're so far past the day where we're just going to vote for you just because you're Democratic, because then you give us people like Kirsten Sinema.
Yep.
That's what we end up with. And if that is the strategy, if the only strategy the Democratic Party has is to tell us to vote blue no matter who, then we're going to keep ending up with Joe Manchin's. And we're not going to be able to pass HR1. We're not going to be able to get the voting to push back against all the things Republicans have been doing across this country since they saw black folks show up to vote. Since they knew we would, in the middle of a pandemic, we would use when they've realized that we would use this system against them, and by against them, we mean just simply doing what's in our best interest. Yeah. They're like, oh no. During the pandemic, they thought we weren't going to vote during the pandemic. Then they realized, oh snap, we have set up voting by mail for our constituents, and now black folks are using it for their constituents.
Yep. Black folks are figuring it out. We can't allow black folks to figure it out. We can't allow black folks to fight the filibuster, which works for us, and it works for, the right. This is exactly why we need to keep it up. But the people and it's funny, has she sat with those who are fighting these voter suppression laws that are coming in? Has she said a word to anybody? And they're fighting the filibuster. But you are supposed to be working with us. So we ain't even together over here. And you talking about bipartisanship.
And she is literally the reason we're not together over here. She stands
the perfect
in the
example.
way every single time. She stands in the way of progress every single time. Joe Manchin stands in the way of progress every single time. There's a list of other Democrats who stand in the way of progress every single time. And it's all too convenient. It's all too convenient because it works for them. They get what they want. She gets the notoriety. She gets to travel the country. She gets to be senator. He gets to be senator. They get all the benefits. They get all the rewards and leave us with absolutely nothing.
Every single time. And this ain't nothing new, but it's good that we get to have her as an example. She showed herself, and we said that every single time that she is in the news, we are going to recall that moment, because she's going to always try to come back I'm fighting for you guys. I'm here for you guys. I want us to win as a people. No, you didn't, because on this day when you danced and praised,
run it again, David.
You wanted nothing. You didn't want us to have not a thing. You didn't want the growth of the people.
No, run there during the curtsy. Yeah.
What you sat and did was go up there and be like, they deserve to die poor. I'm out of here.
This is where she was talking about, I'm happy. We're happily doing this. Hey. So this is what we
get it out of here. That's exactly what she said. She was out of there, and she wore that dumb outfit with it. It was just a dumb. We are never gonna forget this. This is what we're gonna remember. She wants to be monumental. She wants to be known for fighting for the filibuster. She wants to be known for bipartisanship. She wants to be known as the warrior. We are always going to remember her.
Happy warrior, and that's the
Junior.
See, now you're bringing it back to me, because I thought I said everything I needed to say about her, but that's the thing. She is really presenting herself as if she is doing something. She really thinks she's doing. Matter of fact, run the clip one more time, because I want you all to see the confidence that Kirsten Sinema has in this. She really thinks she sounds amazing. She really thinks that she's talking like I'm talking presidential. You guys don't see how talented I really am. Watch the clip again, the first clip.
As folks in Arizona know, I've long been a supporter of the filibuster because it is a tool that protects the democracy of our nation rather than allowing our country to ricochet wildly every 2 to 4 years.
The hand gestures and
policies. The idea of the
when you do this
was created by those who came before us in the United States Senate to create comity and to encourage.
Take her down. I'm sorry.
And while there are some.
I want her to say that she's going to be a warrior.
It's when she said, and while there are some who say that, that's when you say stuff like that, you're really feeling yourself. She's when
you hold your hands like this. When you take it here,
back and forth.
Listen, I'm gonna be a warrior for you. I'm gonna be like this right here. This means that you about to say something amazing.
And all I saw was, I work for Republicans. I'm working against you. And
I'm racist.
while
Use
there are
those by
some,
poor.
and while there are some who believe that what I'm doing is in good faith, I'm actually going to screw every single person who ever voted for me. That's
Every single one of you guys. And I hope that you really vote me in when it's time again. Thank you.
We're going to be joined in a minute by Nomiki Konst. We're going to talk about reactionaries. I think Kirsten Sinema, honestly, is a reactionary herself, because we have reactionaries on all sides. Oh, Nomiki is here. Nomiki Konst, thank you so much for joining us this morning. How are you?
Hey,
Morning. Hi, Rebecca. Hey, Ben. This is like such a great pleasure in the morning. You forced me to get out of my yoga clothes. I just got to say that.
No problem. That's
I know
that's right.
You
Power
could have came
move.
in your yoga clothes. That's totally fine. But you know that would be a thing on Twitter. Then all of a sudden that would be something that we have to talk about on Twitter. But let's
another thing we'd have to talk about on Twitter. Ben, come on.
Exactly. We don't need anything more. But let's talk about it. Let's talk about it from the bottom to the top to the bottom. There is a reactionary movement. And I call it the pan-reactionary movement because I think it's global. And what we're seeing there's a coalition of, and I want to say reactionaries again, people who have this reaction to this system. They have this position that they don't want progress, and they have their particular demographic that they target, particular demographic that they blame. There's a number of ways of defining it, but they're coalescing. And what I'm seeing, and I'd like to know what you see, I'm seeing people who normally would be enemies being allies. For example, on the international stage, we talk about this all the time. The far right-wing government of Benjamin Netanyahu being in league with Christian evangelicals who, at the core of it, don't have they have this relationship with Israel, but for their own purposes. We're seeing those kind of alliances take place all around the world, but especially in media. What are you seeing?
Yeah, I think you're onto something. I mean, movement building is about building. It's about growing your movement. And sometimes that means you have to pull from another movement. We're not as used to that here because we don't have, 5 different parties, but I think it's something that folks are really used to, these coalitions, at least from a party sense, pretty much everywhere but here in the world that has in a quote unquote democracy. So, I think the idea is not foreign to a lot of people. I think what's particularly concerning right now is you're seeing this happen globally, where in places where 2 parties have been dominant, or the establishment has been, whatever their version of an establishment party is, they're weakened, especially if they're a neoliberal democratic, quote unquote, like left center establishment. And you're seeing young people, not as willing to engage with them. And also simultaneously, these establishment groups, these center left establishment groups, similarly like not interested in like aligning with them, which is a great move on their part. So, be the Democratic Party. It would be, I'm in Puerto Rico right now, it would be like the Commonwealth Party here, or, it would be Macron's party, or it would be, but a lot of them will have like a figure that's really popular, kind of keeping that force together. But there's an opportunity, right? And as you're seeing the left grow at an astronomical rate globally, the ideas of the left are becoming more and more popular, whether or not folks identify with it. I think there is a strategic opportunity for the right wing and capital interests to come in and try to disrupt that. And until we as a movement collectively understand that we are in warfare to keep our coalition growing, which it is, we have to be they're going to do all they can to divide and conquer us, to try to split us up so they can build their coalition. Their coalitions.
Let me unpack. Let's expand the conversation there, right? Because this is happening on multiple levels. We see this happening in terms of our global alliances. We really do see a fundamental shift and potential shift in the alliances that we see on the global stage, but we're also seeing it in national politics. We see the split that Kirsten Sinema and Joe Manchin present in the Democratic Party, which keeps us from getting just a modicum of progress, right? But they serve a similar role of dividing and conquering. And we see that same split in media. We see that split all the way down to social media. Talk about it from the national level, from the national point of view, where right now, essentially, this idea of bipartisanship has become the very tool that is used to divide and conquer any progress. Did we lose Nomiki?
I'm here. I'm sorry. That was my fault.
Yeah.
There was a leaf blower outside. I was like, you don't want to hear that. I don't understand how after like a year of this, more than a year of this, I still don't understand how these things work.
Girl, I'm with you.
So it's interesting because I'm all for bipartisanship when we're in the minority and we have to get things passed and we have to find somebody to come to our side, like Bernie Sanders had to do many, many, many times when he would propose legislation. When you got to get things passed or move through or make a point or whatever you have to do to get legislation through, sure, you might have to be friends with someone from the other side for that one goal. But we're in power. There's no need for bipartisanship. We got the power. We fought for the power. We raised the money for the power. The whole country was ignited, largest turnout in history.
Yeah.
And that, I think, this dance that President Biden is, I saw this article yesterday where he was quoted basically like saying, calling out Manchin and Sinema. And it's like, you can't just, that's a foil. He's using them as a foil. Don't call it. That's exactly the strategy is, well, we can't get anything done because of these people here. I'm not going to swear here.
Right.
And I think like ultimately, this idea of bipartisanship should only be in our vocabulary when we are in the minority. It should never be in our vocabulary when we have the power.
Because that's where Republicans have it. That's where Republicans keep that conversation. When they're in the minority, then they want bipartisanship. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Rebecca.
Nomiki, you pointed out something I think that is very important. And I don't understand why in the Democratic Party, when we didn't have the power, we were working a million jobs trying to make sure, hey, we're going to fight this. We're going to do this. We're going to come together as Democrats.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to do all of this. We have fought for this power. We have gotten it, no thanks to people like Kirsten Sinema, but for the people who are actually doing the work and who have been out here doing the same thing, pushing for change. And we finally got some change. And now we're screaming for things that aren't going to protect or going to matter to us, the folks who are the people, and the people that we put in place to help us aren't going to help us. And when we see that, and when we see them partnering with those who have literally
working against us,
and who have people who have sat in rooms saying that women don't have any authority over their own bodies, right?
Right.
That the poor don't deserve nothing but to die poor. They don't deserve any money. They don't deserve any. They've been on that. Now they're taking on people like Kirsten Sinema, or partnering with other people that are in this same party of us who have the power right now. And you're so right. Right now, it ain't about bipartisanship. Let's use our power and get things done. And I think that sitting idle on the side, not for everyone, but for people who partner with them, to me, are just like, it's a shame. It's a shame. And we have it on the higher level and on the lower level. We have people partnering with the other side, still calling it something liberal, and saying bipartisanship is something liberal. And that kind of conversation, to me, is also very dangerous, because it's saying we need to hold hands and we need to kumbaya
with the wrong people.
Other side,
wrong people,
and it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Nomiki, get in there on that. Yeah.
Yeah, I what I really want to do is, like, I want to sit down in a room with the people targeting Sinema, like the organizations targeting Sinema and Manchin, and come up with some like ruthless messaging. Like, they should be billed as anti-democracy. We should attach them to every single piece of legislation, common sense piece of legislation that is not getting passed because of their ruthlessness. We should attach them to Marjorie Taylor. We should call them the Marjorie Taylor Greens of our party. That they're literally like blowing up our democracy for their egos. This is the kind of warfare. We should call on organizations that helped get them there to defund their campaigns. Because you can't be for abortion rights and then support, Kirsten Sinema. You can't be any of the organizations that have backed her, gotten her into office, continue to get into office, and still support Kirsten Sinema. Because all those donors, all those people, as you said, Rebecca, who've done the work, didn't do it. So some egotistical woman who's like, I don't know, off on a power trip or something. Same thing with Manchin, of course.
Right.
But she's more vulnerable because her state's blue, and her other senator, all the excuses that she used to have, well, we're conservative and I have to do that, that's bullshit. And everybody knows it. And now it's catching up with her, because even Mark Kelly is like, I'm not playing that game. I can see where the wind's blowing. I'm not going that way.
Yeah. And essentially, Nomiki, you're saying to call them out. Get up in the room and call them out. We had Cliff Albright on the show yesterday, and he was saying the same thing. We got people in this party that when it's time to get in there and get your hands dirty, they go missing.
Showing up.
So yeah, they're not showing up. They're missing the group text messages saying I didn't get it. And it's funny because it's like we gotta, when we sit in the room, when we see them, it's not to sit in the room and just be like, okay, we're just going to talk about democratic things and what we're supposed to do for our party, how we're supposed to look, while we got the enemy, while we got the Judas in the damn room. We got to call them out. They have to call them out.
Why is it that why is it that there's a faction of every group that feels comfortable sleeping with the enemy? Because let's be real, Republicans are not playing around. And actually, let's bring it down to another level. Let's bring it down to the media, social media level, because this reactionary movement across the globe is not playing around. The alliances that are being formed, where you have done away with identity, because now anything related to identity is bad, right? You're not showing any empathy to people. You're really stripping these movements down to nothing but pure reactionary politics. But we see there seem to be people who are allies with ours, quote unquote allies of ours, who are happy reaching across the aisle to work with right wingers to get some imaginary goal that they never seem to get. We never seem to get what we go into the relationships for, Nomiki. They always seem to get their goal. Talk about that for us.
Yeah, I mean, and I think this goes back to kind of the assault on unions. Started almost a half a century ago at this point. And, think about that. When labor was weakened in this country and stripped, the Democratic Party as a whole just changed, functionally changed, behaviorally changed. And so we've lost those instincts. I mean, even labor now has changed. Aside from this, you don't bargain with the enemy and just say, okay, fine. That's not what a strong union, a militant union does, and that's not what a strong party does. That really believes me. If this faction that's supposedly left, right, which I don't buy, and I think that's starting to catch up with them, but if this faction that is supposedly left that's dancing with the right really is, doesn't want to talk about identity and just wants to talk about economics, great, let's talk about economics. Oh, crickets.
They don't even want that.
Not at all.
They're not. And I know we're jumping back and forth between multiple levels here, but I think it's the same. When Kyrsten Sinema goes over there to work with Republicans, they don't get what Democrats want. We get what Republicans want, period. And when we have factions on the left that jump across the aisle and work with right wingers and conservatives and libertarians in order to get whatever the goal is for that particular week, right? Yeah. We never get what we want out of the deal. The conservative side, the reactionary side, the people who have no problem with gunplay because they believe in their Second Amendment right. Those are the people who kind of win these revolutions after these revolutions are fought. So it operates on multiple levels, but it's the same result from Kyrsten Sinema down to people who want to make alliances with the right.
And go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Rebecca. Go ahead.
So I want to take it back to the social media. I know, Ben, you were saying there's so much that we can do on social media when we talk about this particular discussion, when it comes to bipartisanship, when it comes to separating ourselves from those in our same party because we don't align with that. And I know that I've seen you and Ben have the conversation where it's like, oh, hold up. We don't, just because she's blue doesn't mean I am too. Right. So in those moments though, are you guys willing, both you and Ben, I guess I'll ask that too, but are you guys willing to lose that audience and lose those people to fight for something that I don't know why seems so radical?
But it's just right. It seems
to be on the right side of things. But does it stir up a lot of things for you where it comes to your platform and things like that because you are speaking against people like Kyrsten Sinema?
Well, Nomiki, you want to go first? Which side of it do you want to take? How we lose audiences with liberals or how we lose audiences with people who think they're more radical than us? Which one do you want to argue? Because we lose both.
Because of your audacity to speak against blue.
I mean, listen, I lost all of my centrist liberal friends that I had, whatever, because prior to Bernie, the world looked different. Post Bernie, a lot of people don't answer my phone calls. But that's been gone for a while.
Yeah.
I think, I some people, it depends on what you're doing this for. Are you doing this for change? Are you doing this for your ego? Are you doing this to build an audience? Are you doing this to make money? And if you kind of, at least as a host, I guess is how I look at it, if you go into this with that mindset and you think, all right, I am building this audience and I don't care if it is not 1 million subscribers. I know that my 60,000 subscribers are loyal, consistent, write me notes, say this has changed me. Thank you for, sending me to this organization. Like they're passionate. It's like concentration. It's like drinking watered down juice that's going to cause you, diabetes, or like a green juice or something with like ginger and like turmeric, whatever. It's like gonna like change your life.
I'm just saying.
I know, girl.
You know what I mean? So like I'm not doing it for the same reasons as other people. And I've had to kind of let go of that whole, I'm losing an audience every time someone picks a fight with us.
Yeah.
But I also think it's on us to do what we can to inform people of their strategy. I think a lot of people do not understand that the people instigating these things, I think they're starting to understand, instigating these things have their own motivations. And none of them, by the way, come from the movement. Not one of these people come from any movement of any sort. And so I have never seen one of these people show up to anything. And so they can say, I'm a Democrat or whatever they want to say, CIA, all this crap that they do. That's cool. I'm great. Cool. When we were trying to, pass Medicare for all, you want to care about Medicare for all? Let's just use that as an example that everybody knows. A few years ago, when we were all going up and down the coast of California with the National Nurses Union.
Yep.
Were you there? Were you there at the multiple rallies with NNU? Were you literally like getting burned out in the sun as we were fighting hard to elevate this into the Democratic Party with per Bernie Sanders and NNU's advice to get it in the platform to reveal, basically we knew we were going to lose, but to reveal the weakness of the other side? Don't play this game now.
And again, what's amazing about it, Nomiki, is that it is the same. It's the same game being played. Come back to the 3-shot for us. Thank you. It's the same game being played. It's the game of Rebecca, you said it. It's the divide and conquer game. It is the same technique. It's the same tactic that we see. The role that Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin are playing. They are there simply to divide and conquer on behalf of who. That's who you have to ask. We have to ask ourselves the question: who are the beneficiaries of the divisions that are happening right now? Yeah. Who are the beneficiaries of the left being divided? Who are the beneficiaries of the Democratic Party being divided? And to be honest with you, it's pretty clear on both sides. It's the establishment in general. Like this is not, you pointed it out. It's not for Joe Biden to call out Kyrsten Sinema. It's for Joe Biden to get these Democrats in line so that they can get something accomplished. But by not actively getting them in line, it benefits the way things are right now. It actually benefits this establishment. And I wonder how many people actually are going to be willing to deal with that inconvenient truth.
I think people are starting to wake up to it. I mean, I'm noticing more normie Democrats are aghast by what's happening with Manchin and Sinema. I think the filibuster, a lot of former like Obama administration people and Harry Reid people, some of them written books on the filibuster. There's been so much blame on the filibuster for so long that now it's actually like on the line, and they're like, wait, who's holding it up? This person I like maxed out. So I
think all those donations, and that person has actually fought against what you sent them up there to do.
And then they get on air or they do their interviews and they're saying, I'm a fighter. I'm a warrior. I am the one that is going to protect this party. And it's like, we literally just watched you like mock the fact that people deserve higher wages.
$15. Yeah, run that clip when we reference that. Always run that.
Every single time she speaks, this is what people need to see.
Yes.
Not her with her little bob trying to look meek and Karen-ish. I don't care about that. I don't care anything about that. This is who she is every time I see her. She's disrespectful. She doesn't want good for the people. And there are so many more people who have positions like her, and there are so many people on the lower level who are working as your doctor, who are working as your boss at whatever corporation you're at and treating you the same exact way. And then saying that they're liberal, that they are for the people, that they want everybody to be together. I got black friends. I got brown friends. You know, I don't want the wall in Mexico, but I don't think that people deserve $15.
I would have voted for Obama a third time.
I would have voted for Obama a third time. Yeah, that's those people. And it's like, now I need you to shake it up a bit, because when people are fighting for something, where are you on that spectrum? Are you still here in the 1990s and not saying nothing as a Democrat, not making no moves, just sitting? No, we don't do that anymore. We've been fighting, we've been pushing. There has to be change, and that's the only way this is going to work. And where are you on that spectrum? And your fight could look different, but how are you fighting? How are you fighting?
Yeah.
So,
Nomiki, listen, thank you so much for coming and spending this much time.
Can I add one
with
thing?
us. Absolutely.
Yes. I know you have my friend Senator Jabari Brisport on, and I do think that there's a really great example of this divide and conquer tactic happened in New York. And I think the strategies that were used in New York can be used against Manchin and Sinema. And I'm talking about this thing called the Independent Democratic Conference, where there are 8 senators, Democrats, who were mostly Democratic districts, who are caucusing with Republicans. This was all designed by Andrew Cuomo. And those 8 Democrats in a Democratic state where we should have had a supermajority were holding up legislation. And we would just go out there and list off, they're holding up the codifying Roe v. Wade. And we started getting to the normie Democrats who were like, wait, what? I thought we were in a Democratic state. I had no idea my senator was literally caucusing with Republicans and got bigger offices, et cetera. So Jabari Brisport was part of that slate of, I mean, he was not running against an IDC member, but he was part of the slate of progressives that got elected. And I'm sure I don't know what you're going to speak to him about, probably the Health Act, but
no, we'll definitely, we'll dig into that. And I see, thank you for bringing that up, because there's a lot of places where that overlaps with all the problems that we're facing from the international stage all the way down to social media. Nomiki, Konst, thank you so much.
Nomiki. And you look good this morning, girl. Talking about you took off your yoga clothes. You look great this morning.
So do you. I'm looking at your lighting. I'm like, I need what that is.
I've been playing with it. I've been trying, but thank you. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Have a wonderful morning.
Rebecca, you mentioned something there about how this goes all the way top to bottom down to down to even your doctors. And it reminded me of the story I want to hit real quick, because it is the story from the NFL. It's an interesting one. It is the NFL is pledging to halt their race norming review of Black claims. And this has to do with the $1 billion settlement that is being distributed amongst players who have suffered concussions and permanent brain damage as a result of playing the sport. The payouts to Black players was reduced because the NFL, their algorithm assumed a lower level of cognitive ability from these Black NFL players from the jump. So it automatically assumed that you had lower cognitive abilities if you were Black. And so now they're having to stop this because it has been it was discovered and exposed throughout this lawsuit. You can see
was it exposed or was it discovered? I feel like those are two different things, because I mean, I know that somebody else may have discovered it that never knew about it, but I feel like this has always been a thing, and now these white folks or whoever, because it could be anybody, are exposed in this moment, calling these NFL players dumb. Like, or can't do anything or whatever the case may be because they're Black. That's a problem. But this has probably always been the thing, though, right? If we go back in history and we look at how they view our athletes, and they're just good for, there's a big Black man, that's all they're good for. No education, no anything, but that's a big Black man, and what he can do is throw a ball. That's it.
Well, here's the additional information on this story, right? Because this is a story where the good intention of probably some liberal, love y'all, but yielded the same racist results as what you just described, Rebecca, which is the underlying assumption that Black people are just, have lesser cognitive capacity. This was done according to it was done by the NFL for a specific reason that actually they thought they were doing it for a good reason, right? And it was a way to let me give you an example. It's
Yeah.
almost like instead of addressing the underlying reasons that the SAT and
Okay.
these aptitude tests are inherently racist,
Yeah.
right? Instead, they might do like a curve system, or they might put in an algorithm like the NFL and say that, oh, well, black people just have lower cognitive capacity. So
Mhm.
instead of addressing the issues with these tests that assess your cognitive capacity, and
Mhm.
because they're rooted, we all know, like the way you're
FCAT.
raised, all these things are really based on how you're raised in your environment and
Yes.
what you're exposed to. But
Your mental health.
instead of addressing the problematic nature of the system, what they do is say, we're going to give black people an advantage by lowering on average what we expect their performance to be.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And this
Yeah.
is what the NFL actually did. Now they're in a situation where they have to pay out this money, and all of a sudden they're like, uh-oh, this backfired, because now this makes us look hella racist.
Yep.
You
And I
see,
mean,
instead of addressing the
it
system,
exposes us as
yes,
being hella racist. So,
exactly.
and they can't really run as fast. They can't really think and put their words together
The
straight.
quarterbacks can't really, learn the
They,
plays.
they don't really know the shapes and the letters, and it's funny because you guys want, and they are a part of why a lot of these players, to me, they're a part of that culture, and that idea that black players aren't smart or whatever, because they'll be the players like 15 years old, like I said, they see a big black boy, and they'll go and recruit them and tell the mom, I'll just give you this money if you give me your son, and have him move way across God knows where and live with us and in this whole environment, and shake them up a little bit, and we'll make sure that the teachers just pass them.
Yeah.
That's it. And they don't really have an education. We won't allow them to continue their education because we feel like the ball in their hand is more important. We'll take care of the rest. They are a part of that whole mess too. But that whole idea, I know, there's so many people, even white folks. It goes back to what we were talking about yesterday when it goes to athletes. They own them, right? They feel like they own them and they can do whatever they want with them. So it doesn't, if we want to call them stupid, we can. We own them. If we want to do these tests to recognize that they are, that's fine. Not considering where, and it's only what they believe. Not considering, I don't care if it was a good liberal that may have been behind trying to do this, to do something good, right? Because as we can see, they're not always on the right side of things. And they may be working with those in the NFL to have this particular idea when it comes to our brown and black players. But it also, to me, just makes it, it's just another opportunity for us to realize how racist the NFL is, and how racist it has always been when it comes to our players. And go ahead.
I was looking for this. I was looking for this particular paragraph from the Associated Press, and I found it. It said the binary race norms, when they are used in the testing, assumes that black patients start with worse cognitive functions than whites and other non-blacks. That makes it harder for them to show a deficit and qualify for an award. Henry and Davenport, these are the two players involved in the conversation, for instance, were denied awards, but would have qualified had they been white, according to their lawsuit, which Brody dismissed in March, calling it improper collateral attack on the settlement, and they have appealed the ruling. So it's still like, either way that you look at this, it's hard to look at this and not see the structural, like the inherently racist and structural problems that are at every level of our system, not just in terms of politics, but in terms of even how sports and how the technology and the algorithm that they use to make these assessments automatically assumed a lower cognitive capacity. And to me, it's just like, that is America. That is America in 2021.
Yeah.
In a few, we're going to be joined. I'm sorry, Rebecca. Do you have anything else on that? Because I would I want to get a couple more stories in before we get.
No, you're fine. I mean, this is just another racist we're exposing more racists. It's that somebody put in the chat, which exactly what we said yesterday too, when it came to LeBron James, to shut up and dribble. That's all you're good for. And that's all I hear and see with this. So I'm glad that this is exposed and a payout should be given. And it's
now here is a bit of good news. This is the flip side. Here's some good news. Ally Bank is dropping all of their overdraft fees. They had their system originally, or more recently, before dropping it, they had it set up to only charge a person $25 a month in overdraft fees. Like, when I heard that, I'm like, wait a minute, where's this bank at? Okay, because most banks charge you $35 for every little thing that you do. We talk about that all the time on the show. You go get a $3 cup of coffee, and the way Bank of America got you set up, they're gonna snatch out.
Because they charge you twice, because they charge you for not having it, and they charged you again because they had to take out of their money. So now you get double charged, $75 for a $3 cup of coffee because you ain't have 25 cents.
You felt that in your spirit. I feel it. I feel it in my spirit every time I talk about overdraft fees.
We sat next to each other
and looked at each other's overdraft fees.
Just talking about overdraft, and then be on the phone trying to type stories at the same time. We can figure out how we gonna eat lunch.
Hey, look, listen. Let me tell you something. Like, you dealing with America and these overdraft fees, like, you have got to become a master negotiator. You got to really be able to. I never forget. I told Bank of America I was calling my congressperson, because I knew this was years ago. I didn't really know anybody, but I knew somebody who worked in the office and knew somebody, right? But I told Bank of America, I am calling my congressperson. I am calling the Senate Finance Committee. I'm sending emails, and then they end up refunding me like $400 in overdraft fees.
Amen.
The real question is why do we have this system set up in this country in the first place to take all this money from people who don't have no money to begin with?
And I'm sorry to cut you off on the Ally Bank story, but even with Ally Bank, the fact that you guys are charging us $25 overdraft, let me just stay overdraft. When I get the money, I will pay it back, right? It's like, I owe you. You let me just hold my money here, and you're supposed to be protecting my money.
Right.
And because I decided to, like I said, didn't have 1 cent, 3 cents. I don't know. It's happened to me. I don't know about you, but this is my story.
$38.
Okay? They will charge me $70. $25 is still too much. That is my gas, bro. That's my lunch for the week, man. Like, that is a lot of money. And when if you see that somebody doesn't have it, why charge them for not having it? Because
they got to make their money somehow.
And Bank of America, I just read a story about 2 weeks ago, raised billions of dollars
every year
overdraft fees in one year. 1 year, they raised billions of dollars in overdraft fees in a year.
Yep.
And they have a system set in place that will send you emails to notify you when you are below. They just changed it from $25 to $100.
They did. Wait a minute. Wait. I got to cut you off there, because I'm like, listen, now this is harassment. Listen, if I got $100, as y'all can tell, I've gotten that notification before. If I got $100 in my bank, don't bother me, because I got money.
I got money. Let me move it over. Stop playing with me. Stop playing with me. And it gives me anxiety, because it makes me remember those days when they would send me that, and I would be like, oh my God, am I going to get an overdraft fee? Oh my God. Like, it gives me anxiety, okay? Because I got that notification this morning. And I was
it's harassment. It runs up my blood pressure when you do that.
High. And it's like, hold on. Let me move some money over. But we should not have to live that type of way. I just don't believe that. And there are so many people, and this was a lawsuit that they with Bank of America, because of the $1 billion or whatever that they raised in a year. A woman, like I said, was charged. I don't remember. It was like $20 something. She was supposed to pay something. It's supposed to come out because her bank didn't have it, and was like, they charged her twice. Twice.
Easily.
Again. So she sued the hell out
Right.
of Bank of America.
That's a class action.
And
the class
definitely
action lawsuit.
one
Yeah.
I said, is my name on that one too? I need to know was
No,
my name
see,
in there.
that's why
too.
I didn't join that one. I didn't join that particular because the amount of money that they were going to give me back was less than I could get back by calling them and talking to them and letting them know I would call my congressperson.
Right.
Like, and so we're
Right.
encouraging everyone who's watching, get on that phone and harass them. These banks have been harassing us and getting money out of us and breaking us. I mean, taking money out. You already don't have any money. And the banks are more than happy to put you in the overdraft to the tune. I believe in 2020, they made somewhere between 20 and $30 billion in overdraft fees. That's a poverty tax. That's their way of saying,
where
you broke,
is it?
we'll take more.
Why? And I will. I can't even go there. I ain't gonna do it. But David was saying that Ally is 100% online. It has no location, so no overhead. And that's his bank. He said that he made the switch years ago because they reimburse all ATM fees. But yes, you guys are yelling at me. I definitely should be switching over outside. But I have another bank though, which God bless me. I did move on to another bank.
All these banks, but you said it like. All of them do this. Now, Ally might be
online, outside online. People got Cash App still trying to vote. Yeah, so it's all
Cash App. We need y'all to get that together. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And we need y'all to have a real customer service number. Okay, but Zelle is the most positive thing in my life, but Zelle connects with the criminals. Zelle is bipartisan. Okay? And
it's connecting with the enemy.
It's connecting with the enemy. Zelle needs to separate itself from everybody and be its own entity and just be like a little bank. I like the way Zelle works. You know, you can tell somebody, hey, let me Cash App you. No, Zelle it to me. You got money. Like, you know what I mean? It sounds rich. So,
well, shout out to Ally Bank for doing the right thing. More banks need to do it, and definitely, I absolutely think it's a good thing that they're doing this. And to begin with, I love what you said, Rebecca. Why were they doing it that $25 a month to begin with? You know, I think we have to change the expectation. We absolutely have to change the expectation in this country where the people are on. We're the ones doing the harassing.
Yeah.
We're so used to these banks harassing us. We're so used to these politicians, being able to do anything they want to us. Yeah. We're so used to them being able to get away with anything. It's time for us to do some, and you know how we harass them. We take our money from them.
We take them, or we tell them, you pull the. Do you know who I am?
Yes. Listen, we need to go Karen on these folks.
The way that I am about to blast you guys, and you don't even know it. That's why it's funny, because when I go work for places and they find out who I am or who I work with, I try to keep everything under wraps. I try not to put my, any information out there. But when they find out, there's always a meeting, and it's like, hey, could we switch your name with the company to this instead of that? Also, is there anything that you may need? They start doing all of that. I remember making a big change over this pandemic recently and having overdraft fees for the few months. Literally,
it's okay, Rebecca. We don't pretend around here. Like
it's a safe space.
People are struggling around the world.
Yeah, people are struggling around the world, and basically, I literally was like, okay, look, I ain't had the money, so y'all gonna give it back to me, and because I know who y'all are, don't play with me.
But you threatening the people out there?
I said, listen, don't play. I really was doing what you did. I will
listen. I will call the manager on every single one of y'all. Y'all let a black man who got a couple of phone numbers in his Rolodex be offended. We will pick it up and say, we call Jesus on
social media. They'll send you a DM so fast. Hi, it looks like you were having an issue, and I will take that DM and put it on my main page and let the people play with it. Don't play with me. Don't play with me.
You're not going to hide out in the DMs.
No, because that's what they'll do. They'll go in and they'll send you a personal DM so that they can just kind of fix it and give you $25 of your $300 that they took from you.
Right.
And they'll say, but I remember I did this for you. No. and you put in the message, no, I need all of my money back.
Right.
And why are you charging during a whole panoramic? People are dying. There is no cure right now. And you are telling, I don't even have the hours of work right now. And you're telling me that you still need to take money from me? Stop playing with me.
You feel that in your spirit.
Because it happened to me. It happened to me.
Let me read. We have a couple of minutes before we joined by State Senator Jabari Brisport. I want to read these super chats and these Twitch highlighted comments. A couple of comments from Twitch. This is from Present with Logic. He wanted to compliment both you and Nomiki on how beautiful the two of you are and how brilliant the two of you are. This is obviously I edited that a little bit. Y'all make sure y'all send respectful comments in our comment section.
Those are respectful. They just men just can't really feel like they can say them. I feel like Bubba would though.
Bubba wouldn't care. Bubba would say Present with Logic on Twitch also said, Ben, we need to get all new Democratic candidates willing to get rid of the filibuster and willing to serve their public.
Yes.
I mean, isn't that what we? If that's not why we're here for, what we doing?
Why we elected them people?
If they're going to go up there and just pretend like they can't get nothing done, literally, what's the point? And I need every single Nomiki kept saying normie Democrats, and there's different definitions of it.
That's my first time hearing that too.
Right, but basically though, it's you could summarize it by saying people who say vote blue no matter who. So long as we have a Democrat in there, everything's okay. Well, I really want to ask that crowd, how's that working out? How's it working out with Kirsten Sinema? Joe Manchin. So that crowd, you got to really pay attention to what's happening. Yeah. Mark sent a super chat saying a black man found CTE. How can black people have lesser cognitive ability? That's a good question for
because
the
they even try to. It's a good question, but even with the CTE, they tried to say that he too wasn't smart enough to come up with that. So it's not a real thing, right? They try to do that as well. So, but you're right.
This one is a non-humanist and humanist on Super Chat said the following. In Europe, is all the same immigrants played against natives. In Eastern Europe, white against Roma and Sinti, all unionized. Laura Estrada said, sing it. It sucks to be an American where I know where I'm far from free and I'm glad to sit down or whatever BS that song says. She's doing a rewrite. She's doing a remake.
I like that.
We have I don't quite know what a hype train is, but I know that it is hype. So shout out to the Twitch hype train.
I want to be on that train.
Yeah, I don't quite understand what it is.
Is it a good train?
It's the hype train, so it should be good, right?
Oh, okay.
We reached level 2 hype train. Okay, cool.
I like that.
Shout out to everybody on Twitch. Tiger sent a super chat, and Tiger will be our producer said he's going to be following up with you. Said, hey Ben, pretty sure I'm about to be fired because I have asthma. I dropped you all an email about it. I think I'm going to need some pro bono attorney work. Okay, so we have a large audience. Anybody out there, David will get that information and get the state because we can put our audience to action and get some stuff done. So David, follow up on that and make sure we share information wherever we can. All right. In a moment, we're going to be joined by Jabari Brisport, and he's going to be talking about the fight in New York for a single payer Medicare for all styled universal healthcare system. It's important that we have this conversation because there are forces fighting against it in a really significant fashion. And so we're going to discuss that. And so, Rebecca, let's take a quick break. Yeah. And David, let's run that Revel Day Still Fly. I want to get good energy going in here. Yeah. Everybody say hello to somebody in the chat room. Say good morning to someone, East Coast, West Coast, whatever time zone you're in. Tell us where you're from, more like it or not, when we come back right after this.
Sticks and stones, man, I could really use a change of scenery. Yeah, everybody smoking all the greenery. Yeah, close the match 'cause they were handed down to me. But I'm still fly, I know. I'm still fly, let's go. It could all be worse, I could be a hater like you. It could all be worse. Pills to make the man, but that poison's gonna kill you from the inside out. So right now, say it with your chest now, say it with your chest now. I'm young, I'm free, can't nobody take me here and now. It's my time to run it out. It's my time, it's my time to ride it. I'm young, I'm free, can't nobody take me here and now. It's my time to run it out. It's my time, it's my time, it's my time to ride it out. It's your time, oh. Cheers to all the haters, cause you proved to me that rising to the top was my destiny. And you can see whatever from behind me, but I'm still fly, I know. I'm still fly, let's go. It could all be worse, I could be a hater like you. It could all be worse. Clothes to make the man, but that poison's gonna kill you from the inside out. It's time to say it with your chest now, say it with your chest now. I'm young, I'm free, can't nobody take me here and now. It's my time to run it out. It's my time, it's my time, it's my time to ride it. I'm young, I'm free, can't nobody take me here and now. It's my time to run it out. It's my time, it's my time, it's my time to ride it out. It's your time, oh. If you're on the bus, say yeah. If you're on the train, say yeah. If you gotta walk, say yeah. Everybody's going somewhere. Young or old, I really don't care. Life has never really been fair. So put your fist up in the air. Say yeah. I'm young, I'm free, can't nobody take me here and now. It's my time to run.
Welcome back, folks.
I was like, okay.
David, go ahead and bring on Jabari. Jabari is hey, my friend, thank you so much for joining us. We didn't want to do a lot of formalities because state senator from New York, Jabari Brisport, thank you for coming back on the show. How are you today, man?
I'm great. I really appreciate you giving me a chance to come on and chat about this. I can't thank you enough, man.
Oh, no, absolutely. When I saw you tweeting about it, listen, we're for Medicare for all. We're for a single payer system. We are for changing this system fundamentally from a philosophical perspective, even because you and I agree that people should not be making money profiting off of the sick and the dying. And you guys are making progress to that end. Tell us about what's happening in New York.
Yeah. So basically, New York is one of a few states that is attempting to pass single payer at the state level. I know Vermont had a thing, California, I think Washington's doing it. And in New York, it's called the New York Health Act. It's been introduced year after year for 3 decades now, since 1992. And the politics in New York are such that we have never been closer than we are right now to passing it. This is the only time in the past 3 decades it's been introduced that we have a majority of co-sponsors in the state assembly and in the state senate. And this is the time to do it. And our legislative session in New York ends in a week from now. It ends June 10th. So it's now or never.
It's now or never. Here's the thing that I think a lot of people tell us what are some of the impediments that you're seeing? What are some of the opposition forces that you're seeing that we can use our energy to publicly address?
I mean, the main opposition force right now is inertia. It's lobbying from insurance companies, from the right, calling and putting pressure on legislators to vote no, or just to stall it. And honestly, the problem right now is not that it might come to a vote and be voted down. The problem right now is that it might not even come to a vote. So we need intense pressure just to bring it to a vote. I'm convinced that if it comes to a vote, it will pass. It's just being stalled, and we have a week to get it to come to a vote.
Rebecca, you want to get in there?
Yes. When it comes to the New York Health Act, what are some of the specific things that you would say that are in this act that would, I mean, not to say that none of it is not great, but what are some of the specific things that right now would be something that people would help people in the right now? Like, you know,
what would they get? What would drive them out there? What is the motivating factor? Tell us what is so good about this bill.
So for the bill itself, it is single payer universal coverage to all New Yorkers, regardless of employment, regardless of documentation, regardless of and every New Yorker has access to it. And if you are working in New York, but maybe live in New Jersey or live elsewhere, you will be entitled to the New York Health Act. Also, if you are a New Yorker who goes and retires out of state, it will apply to you. And that's a key selling point for some people that have current coverage through their job, and their job says if you retire and move to Florida or whatever, we still cover you. Same thing for the New York Health Act. So it covers you. It covers you. And it's like we all know from single payer, no co-pays, no deductibles, no worry about, is this person in my network or that network? This is it.
Yeah, so no, that sold me. Hey, I'm moving to New York, honey. No, no, seriously, that I asked that because people may hear this and see this, and a lot of times, a lot of these legislations or acts or anything that is pushed out there is not really, people don't understand what it is, so they're not going to fight behind it. They're not going to want it. They're not going to know. When I lived in New York, I didn't know that I was going to be able to get health care. I just walked in somewhere, and this woman was like, "Hey, you live in New York now. Here's how we can give you some health care, and it could be free for you if you align with these things." I'm like, I didn't even know that. And there were, I put all my friends onto it as well. So this is why I asked that, because there are a lot of people who just aren't knowledgeable. And I think everything that you named just now,
everything that you said is,
I'm sold.
It's what people need to be hammering, right? There should be no inertia around this, but this is so fascinating. You said this has been coming up every year, every session for the last 30 years. What has held it back so far? Because I think I need people to understand the fight for Medicare for all across the entire country. We're going to see some of the same forces that you guys are seeing right there. What took 30 years to get to this point?
The main thing was Republicans. Like, New York is a deep blue state, but it's really gerrymandered, and the Republicans happen to be in control every time we drew the lines for 3 decades. This is the first time that Democrats have controlled the New York State Senate for more than 2 years at a time. This is this is the first time we've ever had a supermajority of Democrats in the state Senate. The politics of New York has shifted so much in the past 3 years. We have never, this opportunity has never come up. And I don't know if it's going to come up again. We're also coming right off a pandemic. It's a confluence of factors that this is the opportunity. And if we don't seize it, I don't know if people want to do it next year, because next year we have elections and and the New York Health Act involves changing taxes, and no one wants to touch taxes during election year, especially the people in the more marginal, moderate districts. So this is the year to do it.
This is the now. Senator, sorry, go ahead, Ben.
No, I was going to say, I know you have to get out of here, but I want to ask this. I want to level the question up. If we get this to a vote, are there any Democrats in New York, like we have on the federal level, like Sinema and Manchin, who are so blue dog, who want so much to hold things the same? Is there any Democratic opposition? If you guys got the power and we get it to a vote, is it going to pass, or are there going to be some Sinemas and Manchins in your state assembly?
We have some blue dogs, but the thing about the Democratic Senate right now is that we have a supermajority. So that's what's great now also is that we actually don't need every Democrat to be on top of it.
Wow.
We have Sinema's Mansions ideologically, but in this case, their votes don't matter. We have a majority of votes, even if they vote no, which they will. That's also been a holdup. We have a supermajority. So this is it. And can I just do a quick pitch on why everyone nationally should be focusing on this?
Yeah.
Okay. So some of people might be asking, like, why we focus on the states so hardcore, why not federal? Well, one, we know Biden doesn't support it. We have the Sinemans, the Manchins, but also, like, in Canada, they passed it in Saskatchewan first. saw that it worked, and then expanded it nationwide. So if some state can be the first to do that, and New York can be that in the next 7 days, we can pass it here, show that it works, and expand it nationwide.
Wow.
Yeah, I love that. And listen, if that would be something in New York,
that'll set everybody free.
That'll set us free. And I know it'll take some time, but I hear the fervor in your voice. I hear like, you're like, we got to get it done right now. If we don't get it done now, it's never going to happen. This is the time. We have the power. Like we were just talking to Nomiki, who was speaking very highly of you as well. She was saying like right now, we need to be using the power. Everybody else is on the side that has, that's the Kirsten Cinemas. Okay, bye. Because we got the power right now. Let's make sure we move on it. Let's take advantage of this opportunity now and let's get it going. Senator, is there any way that any one of our New York followers or New York viewers can have a phone number to figure more about this out, or a website they can go on for more information?
If you Google campaign for New York health, that'll take you right to their website. Plug in, there's actions coming up. There's a bunch of stuff happening in the next few days to build up more pressure for this. Campaign for New York health.
Campaign for New York health. Is that the number 4 or it's spelled out?
It's spelled out.
Okay, just gotta make
we have the link. All right, so we're gonna grab the link. David, grab that link and put it.
There's a link
put it in the different chat rooms and make sure if you are in New York, but even if you're not in New York, get on social media and talk about it. Get the hashtags going. Put all the energy we've seen before, because we really want to make a move here. Because if we can make it in New York, Senator, we can make it anywhere, right? Make it anywhere.
Come on.
Thanks so much for your time today, man.
Thank you for giving me this platform. I appreciate you, Ben. And Rebecca, thank you.
Pleasure's ours. Rebecca, if you can make it in New York.
It's a lie. I had to wait for the senator to go on, but it's a lie. I lived in New York and I made it just about this much, and I had no hair when I left. So you knew I was stressed, okay? I went back to the good old South. But when it comes to healthcare, I cannot lie. Even when I was there, though, all I had to say is I'm homeless, which I kind of was, living on somebody's couch.
You done told the people you've been homeless?
Yeah, and homeless. I can't say that, with not being sheltered, but I was in a friend's home. I told you guys the story already.
Okay.
Yeah. Room with 2 kids. It was crazy. But me being there and just going into a healthcare office, I just needed healthcare. I was young. I thought, if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. I know I say all the time here, and it didn't happen for me. But healthcare wise, though, I was covered. I was able to get my checkups. I was able to have dentist help, even though they was ready to pull out all my little teeth. That's how they do it over there.
No, we got to get this one, get that one. We need all of them.
Yeah, they were able to do everything for me that I needed. And I got food stamps, which allowed me to go to Whole Foods on 14th Street in Union Square and sit and people watch like I had money. So, all of that. So I will say those things came to me, and I told my friends about it. They too got healthcare because we all moved there. A whole bunch of rattlers moved there, and we got healthcare. And in Florida, we never did. So yeah.
But what's interesting to me is that so you have this system that is, measurably better than, because some states you on your own, you don't have any insurance, you are done, right? Don't be in Florida without insurance. Come on, like don't be in Florida without dental insurance.
You got to be in pain and survive your pain. Don't know when it's going to end, but survive your pain. I used to, and I still do, but really debilitating cramps. I would have to go to the hospital. Can't even go to like a doctor or whatever because I had no insurance. And the only people who would see me it was urgent care or people in the hospital.
Yep.
So we had to do you have to do like so much to go get healthcare. And I remember in Florida, a doctor told me, I'm already here, a nurse. I'm already here late because you had to walk in at this time. So if you push me because I'm causing you pain right now, putting this needle in, I'm going to push you back.
That's what a doctor told you?
That's what they told me. I'll never forget it. Tallahassee.
What do you do in that situation? Because like you're vulnerable. You are there. You need empathy from them. Empathy is a theme of the week, right? And you're saying that in some medical situations, you're not able to get the empathy that you need. And all these things, I mean, honestly, it's all rooted in the fact that these systems are permitted to continue as is without trying to change the system, right? And this is what I was talking about with the CTE case, right? They try to get a remedy to the inequities, right? There's sometimes they make moves in order to try to help people.
Yeah.
And they try to create they put a band-aid on a bullet wound. And instead of treating the actual disease underneath it, which is the greed in this country, it's the greed in this country that is at the root of all those things.
Yes,
And so
it is.
at the end of the day, like you're able to get some of the stuff that you got the benefit of in New York. Those were good for you, but they still were treating the symptom. The symptom there is the fact that we have a healthcare system that profits off of people dying and getting sick. They make money off of you being sick.
Yeah.
So of course we're going to have all these problems with our healthcare industry.
Yeah. And I would never know that. I just thought that healthcare was something I'm never going to be able to have, unless I'm under my mother, is her insurance, which when I moved to New York, I aged out and I no longer was able to have that insurance. So I was like, oh my God, I have to get care. How am I going to get my drugs monthly to, handle my cramps or the migraines that I used to get that were debilitating? How am I going to get those drugs? Because these store-boughts aren't doing anything for me. I need the good stuff. So that's how I I was like, I need to take care of myself. Right. And, I had to say I was poor. I had in order for
you were poor.
Yeah, but it's crazy though, Ben. I watched poor people on the street in New York.
Right. There are people who are worse off than you.
Who probably didn't have anything. But then in the same sense too, I watched people who were working and couldn't get it because they were able to afford an apartment, but the apartment was taking up all their income. And they still weren't able to get healthcare. But because I said I was poor, they were like, how poor? This poor, that poor, and I was like, I'm about here. Perfect.
That's the means testing. I just want to put that into context for you. That's the means testing side of the equation. That is, instead of these programs being universal, they have all of these different measurements to determine whether or not you can get it. And what we've seen that do historically is it just makes an unnecessary burden of red tape. How much paperwork did you have to fill out to get all that done? Endless paperwork.
I sat in front of that lady and as she was just telling me, she's like, they don't do that in Florida. I'm filling out paperwork. Don't know what I'm signing. I don't know what part of my life I'm signing away, but I know that I need to get my yearlies, my 6 month check-in. I know I need, all of these things. I'm just signing it away. I'm like, listen, I'm a grown woman now. 21 years old. I got healthcare. Mama said I couldn't move to New York and make it. It's, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I did not know what, and it's true. Because when things would come up like free phones for Obamacare or these random numbers calling me or whatever,
they acted like those free phones. They acted like those free phones were the most unbelievably socialist thing. Like they thought Fidel Castro was coming through and giving away the American coffers.
Now, Ben,
I'm not gonna let you. You're not going.
No, I'm not going to because I feel you now. Look, now that I'm grown, for real grown, and I know something, but then. I wasn't good with my money financially. Things weren't going like I was living in New York once again.
Yeah.
And they caught me on the street. They was like, you need a phone? Like, God, is this you? Because my phone, literally, I couldn't pay the bill. So God, what's going on? And boom, gave me my little Obama phone. When I say I threw that phone when I first got it, because I was able to pay my bill eventually, threw it to the back. Then I wasn't able to pay my bill. And I needed to get to work and communicated with my boss that my train was coming late.
Right.
That phone assisted me, my God, today. It did, but only for up to 300 minutes, 10 text messages. How you use that? It ain't unlimited.
So
it ain't.
The thing is with all that, Rebecca, is that that's
it's a Band-Aid.
It is a Band-Aid, but it's also like you don't have to be ashamed of going back and forth to grab some assistance to get some help because we all out here just surviving.
Yeah.
If you really think about it, we are all out here on the edge. People don't want to talk about their financial insecurity because it's a shame, right?
Yeah.
One of the most embarrassing things in this country is to be poor.
Yeah.
Because look at everything that they put on television, everything that they show us, all the glamour, all the glitz, all the fame, all the fortune, all of the billionaire did this, billionaire did that, this yacht party on Instagram. Oh, I went on this yacht party. Now y'all renting yachts because y'all got to keep the yacht party up, but y'all running y'all accounts into the overdraft. You're trying to keep up with this system and what they tell you have to have and what you have to need. And that's the way they catch you. They get you in that trap. And once you're in it, you go to New York, think you can make it anywhere, but you get locked in. And for the rest of your life, you're trying to survive.
And you're trying to survive. Why? Because, I can get free healthcare. I can get this. And I always tell people in New York, I was healthy, I was fed, I was clothed, but I was miserable. I could not even look at buying an apartment. I had to be with other people every single day in a small corner. My freedom was taking a walk to the train. Like, I was miserable. Getting up in the morning, having to, all of this and not having your own space, and then having to, I had a friend who lived in one of the best parts of Brooklyn, and, a few white girls that I went to church with, and they invited me over. She's like, come on into our space. We go into the space when it's the summer and the whole building's air conditioner isn't working in that building that they renovated.
Oh man, that is
it's enough. But there were 4 girls living in, and this is my living room right here, but you guys can't really see the whole thing, in an open space like this, and only 1 bedroom in there. And 1 girl lived in the bedroom, and 3 other girls lived and got the corners of the spaces. Yes. And 1 girl had to there was a little space at the top that was just small. You couldn't even walk into it.
Right.
There's the stairs that went up there, and it was basically like to store things. She made it into a small bed area. And when she's tall like me, she had to just squeeze herself in.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm not laughing at her.
And,
but wow.
And I remember walking in there and watching this renovated apartment that these girls were paying probably over $3,000 for, and they were sharing it. And it was so hot. One of my girlfriend's faces was turning red. She white. Turning red. And the building AC wasn't central or whatever they call it.
Right.
It wasn't automatic.
It was a window unit.
Yes. And so we walk into it, and she just runs over to the sink, splashing cold water on her face. But her life there was considered luxury. It was a gentrified part of Brooklyn. And I said, I got to go back home.
Got to go to the South.
I got to go back home because this ain't it. But, like you said, it's like, it's almost this whole thing, this whole idea that is sold to us. And I said, okay, I know I got healthcare here. I know I got this, but I'm miserable and I can't live. You can eat. You will be nice and clothed. You will, have insurance, but you can't live there. It's impossible to live there. And then here in Florida, well, I don't live in Florida now. I'm in Georgia. But here, you got to get a job. Make sure you have a job that will cover you for insurance and have a car. But you can definitely find you a nice place, okay, for a little something. Whether it's rented or it's bought, you can really work with that. But you see, it's like a give or take, and people have to choose. What struggle, Ben? What struggle are you going to choose that works with you?
People are having to choose a struggle, and in Florida, you got to have a car. You can't. Everything's so spaced out. There's no public transportation worth anything. The whole point of it is that these people have commodified our survival. They have monetized survival from living to food. You pay for water. You're paying. I mean, soon we're gonna have to be paying for air. Right? They have commodified every part of our life. They've monetized it. And the part of our life that they're milking us dry for is survival, sheer survival. We're having to survive. We go to the hospital and get a $10,000 bill for a 2-hour visit, right? Our system is broken. And what Jabari is fighting for in New York is a significant shift in the right direction.
In the right direction.
It is. We got to move in that direction of we got to stop. We got to decommodify survival. We got to stop letting this system charge people to live, to breathe, to drink water, to see a doctor. Those are things that people should not be commodifying, but that's exactly how our entire system is set up.
And that was, go ahead.
I want to move to this next clip. This next clip is Tucker Carlson. We were talking with Nomiki earlier, and we're talking about the reactionary movement that's moving across this country. One of the most insidious voices in that entire conversation, again, is Tucker Carlson. And we bring him up because something's got to be said about this guy having enough power to be able to spread lies, not only about race in this country, but even about the pandemic. But here's a unique clip because he combines his racism and the pandemic, and managed to both attack wearing a mask and getting the vaccine, along with attacking race in this country. Take a look at this clip.
Everybody agreed that segregation was the worst thing this country ever did. Forcing certain categories of citizens into separate, lesser accommodations, barring them from public places, treating them like lepers or untouchables, that was completely immoral and wrong. We were told that a lot, and most of us strongly agreed. It was wrong. So imagine our confusion today looking out across the country. The very same people, literally the very same, who just the other day told us that segregation was immoral, are now enforcing segregation. Should we be surprised? Probably not, but we still are. Just this morning, the New York Times informed us that unless you can prove you have taken the injection that the Democratic Party demands you take, you are no longer permitted in bars, comedy clubs, even some dance competitions in the state of New York. You're too dirty to appear in public. You're not welcome near normal people. Want to watch the NBA playoffs in person? You had better be vaccinated to do that. Otherwise, the New York Knicks will bar you from Madison Square Garden. You can still go see a baseball game if you want to, but be warned, you will be sitting in your own roped-off section, marinating in your shame with the other disobedient bad people. Medical Jim Crow has come to America. If we still had water fountains, the unvaccinated would have separate ones.
So he manages to do both. This is the twofer. He got his racism and his anti-COVID vaccine information in there. Rebecca.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's him talking about, and you know that America loves their sports. So him framing it simply when it comes to the vaccine in that way, saying, hey, the basketball courts aren't letting you in unless you're vaccinated, and what he's saying to who he's speaking to is these Americans who love sports. And they're going to say, well, I'm going to fight for my rights.
Right.
I'm an American. I'm not getting vaccinated to sit and watch sports. Basketball is our sport. Probably colonized too, but basketball is our sport. And we deserve to have the right to choose if we want to sit in there vaccinated or not. No, you can sit at home and watch it from the TV unvaccinated.
Right.
You don't put people's lives in danger because Tucker Carlson is on here feeding y'all some BS.
Right.
While he is vaccinated and chilling and living good.
Right. Exactly. Tucker Carlson is vaccinated. You better believe Tucker Carlson is vaccinated, but he's playing this game with the lives of his constituents.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to be his people who die from COVID-19. It's going to be his viewers, but he doesn't care, because as long as he gets his immediate need from the audience, which is the ratings, and people keep watching him, you're watching a propagandist who is going to get you killed, but you keep watching him. And he keeps getting paid to the tune of almost $7 million a year to tell you to actively do things that are not in your best interest. He's going to tell you to keep voting with the Republican Party, obviously not in your best economic interest. He's going to tell you not to get the COVID vaccine. Please, that is not in your best interest. He's going to tell you not to wear a mask. And he's leading you down a path where everything he tells you is going to get you destroyed, get you killed, but y'all still listen to him. You still make him the #1 rated show in television. So, if people die, Rebecca, I don't know what to say.
If people die, they die. I mean, at the end of the day, that's how Tucker Carlson is going to view it.
Yeah.
If you die, you die. I know I told you something. If your friend jump off a cliff, you're going to jump off. I didn't say I was your friend now. I was just telling you guys what an American is supposed to act like.
Right.
I mean, I'm safe in my home. I'm safe
vaccinated
with my vaccinations. I'm safe when it comes to my finances. But
I guarantee you, Rebecca, every person in his studio has on a mask. I guarantee you everybody in Tucker Carlson's studio is vaccinated. I guarantee you every member of Tucker Carlson's family is vaccinated, but he doesn't want you to get vaccinated. Y'all keep being the useful idiots for these reactionary billionaires and millionaires and propagandists, and you're going to end up in the grave because you listen to them while they're still there, healthy, vaccinated, safe, and living their best life.
And then they get on here and be like, why do you guys vaccinate yourselves? Let's start a coup. Let's run up the steps of the Capitol. Did you see Tucker Carlson at the Capitol?
No, I didn't. He was there.
No, he wasn't there. But he told
everybody
to go ahead and be terrorists. It's fine.
Yeah.
Did you see? Yeah. Did you see him at any of the street rallies?
Nope.
For Donald Trump?
Nope. Because he's at home.
But Donald Trump,
he's living his elitist go-to. He is living his metropolitan elitist bourgeois top of the skyscraper in Manhattan, eating caviar life. But you think you got something in common with Tucker Carlson, and you live on the south side of West Virginia. Get the hell out of here.
Get out of here. Please get out of here. And he's gonna do another one tonight. And that something that is, he's gonna keep doing them. All we see is Tucker Carlson saying the same things over and over in a different way. Yep. And he's 2 shows in now, right? He got 2 shows. The money has doubled. You guys have, you guys being Americans have followed him. Yeah, it's crazy, right? And you guys have doubled his income. The pandemic, his stance on the pandemic, his stance on the terrorist, the Donald Trump clan. Rebecca, his stance on that has doubled his finances. Go ahead.
You hitting on something there, because they reward, this whole system is built on a system of the worst in America, in human society. We are built off of greed. America runs off of greed. Capitalism runs off of greed. Fox News runs off of greed. We reward the very worst in humanity. You just said that they have given Tucker Carlson 2 shows now. The person who is telling them everything that they need to die. The person is telling them don't get a vaccine. The person who's telling them don't wear a mask. All the things that they have rewarded their own death sentence. It's like paying your own assassin to come and kill you by surprise.
Exactly.
That's what you guys are doing. You are paying Tucker Carlson to kill you all. You all fear the white replacement theory. You all fear the death and the demise of your demographic. But listening to Tucker Carlson going to get you killed quicker. And y'all gave him 2 shows. Ain't that something?
Ain't that
all right? Let's talk about that. No, let me back off of that joke. That was about to be a little too edgy. Let's talk about Candace Owens.
It's Thursday. We can't be edgy on.
We can be edgy tomorrow.
Yeah, Friday.
Let's look at. Speaking of segregation, everything is segregation to conservatives except for segregation and actual racism. Here is Candace Owens describing segregation as something that Candace Owens, let's listen.
Ago. Brandeis University assistant dean Kate Slater, who is white, went on an Instagram screed writing, "Yes, all white people are racist, and that all white people have been conditioned in society where one's racial identity determines life experiences, outcomes, and whiteness is the norm and the default. That includes me." Well, she was quick to clarify, however, that she doesn't hate white people, just whiteness.
We need to tell the truth. The left right now is segregationist. We need to start saying that over and over again. They are the party of segregation. That is what they are calling for. They are obsessed with race. They want your children to know that they are either oppressed or they are privileged. And by the way, could you imagine what it is like for me, who has a biracial child, who is being told that your child is going to be literally taught in the school system that they are either half oppressed or half privileged? They talk about what's happening inside the school systems. Everybody cares about their children. They understand what's going on. This pick your gender, the transgender that is going on. And most importantly and most potently, telling children that they need to see race everywhere at the same time, you are not telling them to focus on hard academics. We're not teaching engineering and math anymore. We're teaching critical race theory. And that is because what they want to do is to water down the education system to produce dumber kids, because dumber kids means that you can almost guarantee that they're going to become servants to the government. They will end up on welfare because they have no practical skills.
Wait a minute. Did she say dumb? Did Candace Owens just talk about dumb on Fox News? The network that literally has a paper trail, a blood trail of people who died because they listened to Fox News, that kind of dumb. Go ahead, Rebecca.
No, she did. I have nothing to say. I mean, cute hairstyle. She probably has on a cute dress too. She's giving a little ET go home, but I really, she looks like she's not eating anymore.
She's
What's
not
going
eating.
on?
She needs to go eat. She don't want to eat.
Like, she doesn't look healthy, is what I'm saying. And not about, it's just she doesn't look healthy right now. That she's I don't like it. But in the same time though, she and I hope everything's okay with her health wise, because when we be doing that, next thing you know, they come in and be like,
yes, you got to cover all the bases.
I got to make sure,
just in case there's a health issue.
I don't want there to be a health issue with her
on her physical appearance. Okay.
But
at least you wrote it. At least you dialed it back. You showed
lately it's been that kind of thing. Next thing you know, we'd be like, "What's wrong with that person?" And boom, they have like staged something. God forbid that happens with her, though. I mean, whatever. But she just
no. We'll be kind. We'll be kind.
But anywho, all of that she said. Here's my thing with that, Candace Owens. You went to a school, and that we always had to roll back to that because you sued or whatever happened with an instance that happened with you in school where something was like. You had a racial incident, and you sued and won, right? And then here's the thing with that though as well. You're saying what our kids are being taught in schools. What our kids were being taught in schools the whole time though was just a one-sided story about everything, and it was racist. It was that white people did every single thing, and that we Black people came here and were happy to be slaves, to come here and have a life, and that the Native Americans were
happy getting genocided
to be bipartisan, right? with the white folks, the colonizers.
Hey, Rebecca, I don't mean to interrupt your flow, but bipartisan for you is diversity and inclusion, right?
That's exactly what it is now. Yeah, thank you, Ben. It definitely is. I can't stand neither one of them. Okay, and that bipartisan then roll back around. I'm tired of it. And this is what we're looking at right now. Like Black and white person here, and it's bipartisan looking for them to be on there, and for her as a Black woman to be discussing race in schools, education, because that's one of the hot topics right now, and how we should not be discussing true Black history, true history that has Black people at the forefront of inventions, that have Black people at the forefront of anything that's good. And it's not right for us to speak that way. But honey, sweetie, it's not only about that. When we're learning about math, it could be racist. When we're learning about science, it could be racist. When we're in our dance class, it could be racist. Any part of our education system has racist undertones, racist systems that have been built to put white people first. And so for you to sit here and speak as you are and say that our children, it's not good that our children are being taught the right things about Black people. And it's not good that we're calling a thing when it comes to that, and saying what the truth is, where Black people sit in this time and where white people sit in this time. It's that we can't do that. And because it's making our kids choose. It's not making our kids choose. It's making our kids smarter. It's making our kids understand and understand what's going on. And then at that point, they can choose what side they want to stick on. But we can say that we taught them the truth. That's what matters. Because being taught that Christopher Columbus was a good man who founded places that he did not found.
Right.
That is sick.
Becca, I need you to help me figure this out. There's a thing that you just said. It just kind of gave me, there's a common thread. There's a reason. There's something that bothers you, Rebecca Azor, that intersects all these things. And I think we could discover it. One, it's diversity and inclusion, right? Why, just in one quick sentence, why does diversity and inclusion bother you?
Because it's racist.
What? But no, underneath it, what about it?
Because you said one quick sentence and that's it. Because to me,
it's racist. Give me 4 good sentences.
It does not. It's not progressive. It doesn't. What diversity and inclusion does is it takes the the good black folk and put them at the forefront of to showcase for racist corporations. And and it all started and it all started, if we go back when it began, when Starbucks had that incident, right?
Yeah, that's when you knew.
Then they shut down Starbucks for a day, and
Okay.
we were all like, oh, yay, racism is over.
Right.
And if we
Well,
can just do this, and that to me was a slap in the face, because I'm like, your whole corporation still moves in that. But because you took a department and you took a black person, and you know the diversity and inclusion team, hey, because if you go on social media and you ask them how big the diversity and inclusion team is,
you're gonna get replies directly from
that holds on to
Okay.
so much. So it's
Yeah.
still built to me in racism. It's saying
Okay.
that one black person can take on the weight of all our racist remarks.
Okay,
all
let
our
me move to
racist
the next one then.
campaigns. You see, don't get me started.
Yeah,
Ben.
yeah. Let me move to the next one. So diversity inclusion, it bothers you because it gives the appearance of progress when it's not really progress.
It's racist.
Okay,
Real.
the second thing, why does bipartisanship bother you?
Because it's not real.
Not
One
real.
is racist and one isn't real. Like, let's be honest. We've been talking bipartisanship for years and years and years. A partnership, the kumbaya, that whole thing. I used to be one before I got into politics as a normal person, okay? Coming in and trying to understand what's going on, thinking that if we just join hands, if we just partner together, a change will happen. But I've
Right.
saw people, even when a black man took office and he was speaking the same kind of rhetoric, I saw them disrespect him as well. People in his own party let the people on the other side disrespect him.
Easily.
And they talked about it being bipartisan for him not to say anything.
Okay.
It doesn't benefit us. It's one-sided. It isn't real.
Okay. So we just got through talking about Candace Owens, and I think I got it because we're almost there. You're talking about it is the appearance. It doesn't look real, right? Or at least they try to make it look real, but underneath it, it's not real, right? And it doesn't help us, right? But then you also compared it to Candace Owens, right there in Candace Owens, her being on that platform, using her voice in that way. There's something there. There's a common thing. Like how does that overlap with that appearance and not helping us?
Because I say that's another bipartisan look, right? And not only do Republicans do that, they'll use their blackest person in that time, in that moment, because that's pretty bipartisan to me. When I think bipartisan, I think two opposites joining each other, coming together. And I know it has to do with politics, but when I say that, it's more so of, okay, we're looking at this basically the same thing. We got a black woman who represents being Republican on a very, very, very hard right network, and she's speaking, but it looks good when it comes from the mouth of a black person instead of the white person. So they need that
their version,
that person to have that that diversity and inclusion on their side of it all. And so that's why I say, they don't really want Candace Owens' voice. It's just packaged in a black body. So now they're black people who are conservatives can say they have something to go with. And they can also say, I didn't say that, but it came from a black person. So if she feels that way, then you should too.
Ooh.
And you should know that this is not how we operate. We aren't racist because we have a black person who is a talking head for us. And that's what I seen when Joe Biden called on Kamala Harris out of her, I don't know where she's been hiding, but called on her to come and speak on black issues. Because she's black.
Right. I think underneath all of those things, we have the same common problem, the same issue I got with Kirsten Sinema doing this, Joe Manchin doing this. I don't care who it is. All these people who are attempting to reach across the aisle and say that inherently by reaching across the aisle, they're doing something good. That's what Kirsten Sinema was saying in her video, that she did something good by reaching across the aisle. Pat me on the back. I did something good.
Yep.
Right. We spoke about racism and we put Kamala Harris up there. We did something good. Right. But at the end of the day, if what comes out of your partnership in your appearance and you being out there and being out in front and look at this symbolism, look at this representation, if the results don't benefit the people, then were you a bipartisan person or were you a traitor? Like if what you do doesn't help us, ain't you betraying us? Am I in the right area? What bothers you about this?
Ben, you in the house, you on the street, you in the house this morning. That's exactly what I'm saying. And that's why when I hear it, when I see it, it's just the same thing over and over. I can't be on that side of things. It's not because I'm trying to be radical. It's not because I want to be on the, woke or anything. It is what it is. I'm calling a thing a thing. I'm saying what this exactly is. If we go through our history, did we not just speak to a Senator Jabari, telling us literally ants in his pants, like, we got to jump on it right now.
Got to do it.
People in his own party would be willing to join with the other side to stop what he's doing. That's what they're calling bipartisanship. It doesn't work for what works for us. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's why I say it's right up the alley with diversity and inclusion. I like the idea. When I first heard of diversity and inclusion, I like the idea of how it grew from just that one meeting of Starbucks shutting down. But then when I started to realize, what does the groups look like? How much people are on this team holding down this billion-trillion-dollar company? You got 4 people nationwide who are holding down the diversity and inclusion team, staying up day and night to hold down your racist BS, to clear it up.
And what are the results of what they do? If the results of your diversity and inclusion is not the advancement of the people who are the diversity, then are you actually helping us or are you betraying us? If the results of your bipartisanship is not going to be something that actually benefits the working people of this country, Kyrsten Sinema, then should you be rewarded for bipartisanship or should you be viewed as a traitor?
And what she's doing
to me, the person that you send into another camp, they're either going into that other camp to do something for you or to do something for that other camp. Now, ask yourself the question: who is Kyrsten Sinema really helping? Who is Candace Owens really helping? Who are these reactionaries on the left really helping? Because if you're going into the camp with conservatives to get something, you better get something good for the people. But all you're getting is what conservatives want, Kyrsten Sinema.
Yeah. And Kyrsten Sinema is doing exactly what she's supposed to do, right? That is the best representation. Joe Manchin, that is the best representation of bipartisanship, right? Right now. I mean, we've seen it with other people. Like, we've seen it with other leaders. We've seen it with other people who have been sitting in these seats and we ain't never know their name until just recently. Like, they are doing exactly what they've been doing for years. And when they sit down and they say the only way we can save America is if we join hands with the right. And if we join hands with those Republicans, that's where we can make a change right here in America. And that to me is some BS. You are not a warrior, sis. And to use that name is ridiculous.
And that's why it bothers you.
There's not, it's frustrating because where was the fight? I saw you curtsy. I saw you dance. I saw you mock the fact that we deserve more, right? I saw you mock the fact that poor people who don't have, people who are working for you to stop by on your lunch break to grab a bite to eat. And you have an attitude when you come to the window. We don't deserve anything because of the type of place that we're working in, because $15 is too much while you're making nothing for the nothing that you do 4 days a week. But the one day that you come outside to look like a Karen and in an interview to feel like you need to speak up and help
on the
people
back.
feel, people feel what you're saying and your mannerisms. I'm done with it, Ben. I've seen it too many times.
Because Rebecca, because you inherently know you have the ability, you personally have the ability to quickly identify who is a traitor. Your gut instinct tells you, and you know this false appearance of progress is what you hate. Right? Yeah. You hate, don't put some symbolism up here and say simply because we have something called diversity and inclusion that irks you, because at the end of the day, you see how it betrays us.
Yes,
right?
Yes.
Don't talk about bipartisanship when at the end of the day, you use bipartisanship to betray us. Right?
Yes.
Don't tell me you got good black friends when you're using that black friend, Candace Owens, to betray us.
Yes.
So the real question is what kind of agents are we working with here? Is Kyrsten Sinema there on our behalf? Is she a spy on behalf? Is she a negotiator for the Democrats, or is she a negotiator for Republicans? Everything that we've seen come from her bipartisanship with Republicans shows that she's negotiating for Republicans. She's not our spy. She's our traitor.
Yeah, that's it. That's all I got. That's all I got. And stop abusing our Black workers who are working in these corporations to hold down all of your mishaps, to hold down and cover up your racist, your whole racist ideals, your whole racist ways in your system, because none of that changes. None of that changes. You just had them put out a Black campaign, an LGBTQIA plus campaign, and it makes you less of a bigot. It makes you less
Make you
racist
look good.
because you got people on the team, and that's about it.
Y'all
But
got
these
Benedict.
same companies, go ahead.
They got Benedict Arnold out here portraying and stuff like they're the hero of the story. Like that's the kind of snakes in the grass we have. But all of that seems to be objective, like, my interpretation of them. I have a measurable test for you. Look at the results of that bipartisanship. Who does it benefit more? That lets you know that anytime a Democrat says bipartisanship and the win and the balance and the reward goes to Republicans, that means that they were there on behalf of Republicans and that they were not there on behalf of us. And that's what Kirsten Sinema and Joe Manchin really represent. That's what we see. And we have that up and down the scale. I'm going to leave it at that level of analysis because I don't want to take it too down into the weeds, but it goes all the way down to people who gaslight you, say they're going to do stuff for you. And you have to ask yourself, what was the result? Was it a benefit for you? Was that bipartisanship a benefit for you, Rebecca, or was it a benefit for your enemy? And that's why you said at the beginning of the show, you said they reaching across the aisle and holding the hands of our enemies.
And that's it. And I've gone through that too much in my, in every part of my life. And I've allowed it because I know that I am the minority, right? In a lot of ways, whether it was the party that I chose, whether it was my skin color, whether it was my gender that I identify with, whether it was me being from another culture, it's all of that, right? And I had to stay quiet, or I had to mold myself into somebody who believes Black and white people holding hands is amazing, who believes a Republican person and a Democrat person holding hands is amazing, who believes that, and to me, that's us selling ourselves short.
Right.
I got to call you out. That Cliff Albright is in the middle of his own folks calling him out.
Yeah.
Nomiki is in the middle of her own folks calling him out. You are in the middle of your own folks standing out while everybody is running in one direction. You're like, hold up.
Exactly.
That's not where I'm at with it. And that's where I am at with it. I can't speak on something that when I see it not helping anyone.
Yes. Thank you.
So,
you asked that question earlier, and Nomiki answered. I didn't get a chance to answer, but I'm not going to answer long. You said, what has it been like losing audiences? And the thing is, like, you inherently know, you inherently know when somebody's a traitor. That's something I noticed that you have the ability to do. I get the gut instinct about things. And because I process the logic as quickly as I can, and I come to a quick conclusion. And when the thing that I don't miss on, the thing that I do not miss on is someone who's operating in bad faith. And when we find people who are operating in bad faith, they're going to gaslight us. They are going to distort the truth. They're going to use propaganda. They're going to do all these things, but they're going to do it while telling you we're here to help you.
Yes.
And you know what? I've seen those type of people pop up, not only in the Democratic Party, but also in the far left.
Yes.
And when I see it, it's like, I say what I got to say. I mean what I have to say. I've said it. I don't even have to repeat it. But you know what? There are people who will leave you, and you just got to let them go.
Yes.
Because if they were not here listening and engaging in good faith to begin with, then they weren't here to ever be on our side. They were always here to be that traitor. They were always here to betray us on behalf of the other team. Because if they're listening in good faith, everything that we've been saying, everything that we just called out, whether it be Kirsten Sinema, Joe Manchin, Candace Owens, all of them, we're telling the truth. Because at the end of the day, it is a simple test. Who gets the reward from that connection?
Yeah.
If it's our enemy, then that person who's smiling in our face and saying that they're here to unify us, no, they're not there to help us. They're there to help our enemies.
Yep. And then once you realize that, and once you walk in that kind of mindset, a lot of things start to change for you. And you said
That
something,
sounds
and
personal for you, Rebecca. Sound like there's some relationship analogs there too, but we'll
well,
leave that
Ben,
for the
you were just,
after party.
I was just about to say, Ben, I'm like, well, you getting a little like, who he been cutting off folks, y'all. Stop playing with him.
Oh,
Family,
now this
friends,
all, yeah, no,
all
family,
y'all.
good.
The way
Family is,
Ben was
yeah,
just saying, he was just like, I've been there, done it. I ain't playing. Everybody on
yeah.
the top of the
Look,
block.
look,
Okay?
the people I cut off are once I realize somebody is engaging in me and with me in bad faith. When I realize that you never had any intention, Democratic Party, Republican Party, America, when it comes to black people, you've shown that you never really had any intention to do something for us in the first place. Now, we've been patient and we saved the country from Donald Trump. We did that. But at the end of the day, if you are not there benefiting our community, then we have to ask ourselves the question, what kind of relationship are we in with the Democratic Party?
Well,
If
Ben,
y'all are not willing to break this filibuster in order to get HR 1 passed, then you're not even there on behalf of the people who put you there. So we gotta govern ourselves accordingly, Rebecca.
we got to govern ourselves accordingly. But everything that you said, I was going to say, like, you know, we have to govern ourselves accordingly. But you made really great points, which we need to use not only in how we move with our political parties, but even in our workspaces. I think
Yep.
you should run in that same energy, and even in your relationships. Ben, you want to put me out. Even in your relationships, I believe that you should walk in that same energy, because once you identify that this thing that they said that they were going to do in this program, or this way that they said they were going to work with, and is gonna happen, and it doesn't, you need to look at it for what it is, sis, and walk away, bro.
Yeah.
If it ain't good, if
It ain't
she ain't
good
good,
for
if
you.
he ain't good, if they ain't
Gotta walk
good,
away.
walk away from it, because
got
it's
to.
toxic. I really thought that a certain type of party and just representing with that party was going to
Yeah.
be good for me. But when I saw
Well, here's
the
the
no
last.
changes happening, it was
Yes.
eating me up inside. It was
Yes.
messing with my mental. It was messing me up. I felt like nothing that I say, nothing that I do was working. So me taking myself out of the equation and looking at it from the outside, it was like, you know what? I'm just going to be my own person, my own
Y'all
voice,
want me to dub?
and
You
handle
better preach,
business
Rebecca.
like I should, and let my mental health, because I know that I may not be able to change the world, but I could I could change the neighborhood from where
Come
my
on.
mama's from in Haiti. I
Come
could
on.
do that. I may not be able to change the world, but the way that they're gonna treat me in my apartment complex, the next black person will be protected when they move here. You know, there's little things that you can do, because if I walk and be worried about this general stuff that ain't that I need to worry about what is affecting us, black folks. Who's the voice for y'all right now in
Come
the
on.
White House?
Come
Who?
on.
Who?
No,
You
no,
know
no,
what I
no, no, no.
mean?
Who is the real voice for us? Like there are a couple there, but you got to make sure you identify who your real ally is. Like
Not the ones
who's
that
really there? I'm
doing
talking to black
Cadillac
folks today.
commercials. And no offense to the ones that get endorsements. I'm all about luxury living and about your work. I'm really about that. Like I believe that everybody should be getting paid for their work, whatever it is. And if
Yeah.
you make money, live luxury. It's fine. It's
You
great.
came off
But
the top rope with that one,
yeah,
Rebecca.
you know, and I have no issues with those people in that thing, but just to see activism turning into how it's turning into right now, it's crazy. It's like the celebrity-ness that's attached to it, and I know you can't escape it, because we got people who put Gorilla Glue in their hair that we make celebrities. I get it, I see it, I understand.
You got to get your bag.
Yeah, you got to get your bag, and I'm all about getting the bag, but sometimes we lose sight of what our fight is for.
Well,
that Chris and Sinema comes in front of
no,
you.
I want to keep it on the black for a second, because then that is how we can evaluate who we are. See, if you want to ask yourself who you really are to a movement, ask yourself who's getting the most benefit from your relationship, from your bipartisanship. If you out there representing black folks, we'll talk about progressive another time. White folks don't chime in on this part. This is just for us. If you out there representing black folks, you got to look at your ledger and say, who is getting the most benefit from me being out here? Is it the people I'm out here representing? Is it Black America? Or is it the people I'm out here making my money from? And you got to make your money. Make your money. But who's getting the benefit? Are your bosses getting the benefit, or the black community getting the benefit? All right. That said, Same
We
thing.
made it to
same thing.
10:30. I got to go to work.
Yeah, it's the same thing across the board. Put that love analysis from the White House all the way down to your relationship. It's a universal. Are they in there for you? Are they in there for somebody else or for themselves? Shout out to all of our newest patrons. We're out of time. We did not break it over to the after party because I want you to do this right here. I need you to do me a personal favor. I don't care if you're watching on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, or Facebook. I need you to go to the YouTube page for Like It or Not and subscribe to Like It or Not on YouTube. It doesn't cost you a dime. I need you to do it. David is dropping the link across all the platforms. We kept the show open to the public today. I need everyone who listens by podcast, take an extra minute and go over to subscribe to the Like It or Not YouTube page. We need that page to hit 1,000 subscribers so we can cut on all the monetization tools there so that we can continue to stream over there. We will move gradually over to that YouTube page only, and we want you to be sure to be there to get these subscriptions. We're going to wait for James to come back. To everyone who was a patron yesterday, James is the master of the patron party. He is going to list all the patrons. When he gets here tomorrow, we'll have a combined list. Saturday night is my birthday party. I expect you all to be in the place. It's free. Zoom, come and just dance with us. And that's all I got. Rebecca, what do you have?
That is all I got. I mean, we said what we said. I hope that you guys got something out of it. I hope we made you laugh. I hope we made you feel good. I hope we made you think. And we had our amazing guest. Shout out to Senator Jabari and as well as Nomiki. Thank you guys for coming on to the show today. And tune in tomorrow. It's Thursday. I hope that you guys do something good for yourself. Liu Kang, I be seeing you in your little garden or whatever. It's real cute. Thank you for watching us in there. Good energy. So I hope that you guys have a good day. And I am out of here.
We'll see you tomorrow. David,
Love
take
you
us
guys.
out of here.
Mean it.
Wait. Wait a minute. We forgot about James.
Look, my camera's off,
Your
but
camera went off.
James at the beach.
This is James at the beach in real time, y'all. Give some love, put some love out there for James,
For
DJ
James.
Exclusive in the chat rooms. We'll see you
Love
tomorrow,
y'all.
everybody. Take care.
Bye.
Sticks and stones may break my bone, but your words can't hurt me. No, you just can't hurt me. No, I ain't been right more than I've been wrong, and it still can't hurt me. No, it just can't hurt me. No. No, you just can't hurt me. No, you just can't hurt me, no, no, no. I know it's hard to be polite, and it's easy being petty. My mama used to tell me, gotta use you when he ready. Man, it's crazy how my brother said it could've been my cell. It's either prison or a grave, that's what everybody tell me. Man, life ain't a beach, it's a female dog. I'm staying 10 toes down, though I still might fall. Oh yeah, now I done came through, knocking pictures off you walls. Cause loving people who persecute you, it's still a tough. So be a light up on my path and a lamp under my feet. I know my faith strong, but my flesh still kinda weak. When that victory be looking like the verge of defeat, and I feel that disrespect, help me turn my other cheek and say, sticks and stones may break my bone, but your words can't hurt me. No, you just can't hurt me. No, I ain't been right more than I've been wrong, and it still can't hurt me. No, it just can't hurt me. No. No, you just can't hurt me. No, you just can't hurt me, no, no, no. No, you just can't hurt me. No, you just can't hurt me, no. See, it's hard to be polite, it's easy being petty. Mama used to tell me, gotta use you when you're ready. Cause I ain't working on my own timing. Ain't got no diamonds on me, but I stay shining, yeah, yeah. They say the world would be a better place if we take out the hate.
Stop all the hate right now.
Yeah, let's keep it real, it'd be better if we just subtract the fake. Yeah, so be a light up on my path and a lamp under my feet. I know my faith strong, but my flesh still kinda weak. When that victory be looking like the verge of defeat, and I feel that disrespect, help me turn my other cheek and say, sticks and stones may break my bone, but your words can't hurt me. No, you just can't hurt me. No, I ain't been right more than I've been wrong, and it still can't hurt